Have you ever wondered what would happen if the largest objects in the universe actually collided? Most people imagine deafening explosions, but out in space, the greatest show unfolds in silence. That's the paradox. The bigger the crash, the quieter the sound. While our eyes see nothing but distant points of light, entire galaxies are being redrawn behind the scenes. And the most amazing part? You are part of this same story. But here comes the twist. What we call destruction, the cosmos calls creation. Planets crash and give birth to moons, stars explode and forge the iron in your blood. A powerful belief. Life doesn't emerge from order, but from chaos. It sounds counterintuitive, I know, but it's the foundation of everything. The universe has never been afraid to fall apart in order to begin again. And here's your quick reward. If the universe creates through impact, so can you. Every crisis carries within it the seed of an unexpected rebirth. Curiosity is inevitable. What happens when the greatest giants meet? Get ready, because the answer goes far beyond science. It might just change the way you see your own existence. Imagine two cosmic giants, HD 10546b and P67ab, colliding like gladiators in a celestial arena. To us, it might feel distant, but the scene is a lot like when two teenagers fight in the schoolyard. Everyone stops to watch, waiting for the impact. The difference is, instead of fists, it's layers of hydrogen and helium crashing together, like flaming pillows being hurled at one another. And the sound, there isn't any, because in the vacuum of space, silence reigns. Yet the shockwaves would slam through the cosmos like hammer blows of pure energy, reshaping the space around them. It's as if each strike were a thunderclap multiplied to infinity, echoing not in our ears, but in gravity itself. On this silent stage, the spectacle becomes even more brutal, unfolding beneath the cold, unblinking gaze of the universe. The curious thing is, collisions like these don't just destroy, they can reshape entire systems, forging new worlds out of chaos. Destruction turns into a cradle, and from the clash, something new is born. Now, think back to childhood. Who hasn't smashed two water balloons together just to watch the spray burst out in every direction? That simple memory helps explain what's happening here. Except, in this case, each balloon is bigger than Jupiter, multiplied several times over. And when they burst, it's not just water that sprays out, but massive layers of gas and matter swirling and mixing in a cataclysm of energy. Picture yourself standing before an electrical storm the size of 1,000 planets, where every lightning bolt lights up the darkness for centuries. In the grip of gravitational impact, the spectacle becomes even more breathtaking. Orbits can be thrown off course, moons hurled into the void, and even neighboring planets may see their destinies rewritten. It's as if the life of an entire neighborhood suddenly changed because two houses decided to collapse on top of each other. What once seemed stable is gone in an instant, and yet within that chaos lies the chance for a new order to emerge. These collisions aren't just distant curiosities, they shape the very fabric of cosmic history. Many scientists believe our own moon was born this way, when a Mars-sized object called Theia slammed into the young Earth. Out of destruction came a satellite that still shapes our tides and even helps stabilize our climate. In other words, even in the heart of disaster there can be a legacy, something that endures and transforms the future. It reminds us that the universe has no fear of breaking itself apart in order to rebuild. It's almost as if it whispers, "Every ending hides a beginning." But if a planetary collision can trigger such profound change, what happens when the crash isn't between worlds, but between stars? Colossal giants carrying centuries of light and energy in every pulse. That's when we step into the realm of supergiant stars, where encounters don't just reshape systems, but challenge our very idea of what an ending or a beginning really means. When two supergiant stars decide to meet, it feels as if the entire universe holds its breath before the spectacle. These aren't ordinary stars. but colossal beings carrying centuries of light and energy in every pulse, living archives of the cosmos itself. It's like two elders who have lived long lives, filled with stories, scars, and memories, suddenly choosing to dance together at the end of the party. Except this dance doesn't last minutes, it erupts in seconds and silences the music forever. The collision between VY Canis Majoris and RSGC-1 F01 would be so immense that the energy released could reshape all the space around them, bending orbits and swallowing entire planets. There's no sound, only a deafening silence, because in the vacuum there are no voices, just the invisible echo of gravitational waves rippling outward. And yet, within this violence lies creativity. The destruction gives birth to new chemical elements, the seeds of future worlds that can only exist after the death of these giants. Maybe you've lived through something similar, not on a cosmic scale, but deep within the human heart. The sudden loss of someone you thought would always be there can feel as devastating as the vanishing of a star. I remember the emptiness I felt when I lost my grandmother. It was as if someone had erased an entire constellation from my personal sky, leaving only silence and absence. The collapse of two supergiants feels the same, only magnified. Millions of years of brilliance extinguished in seconds. It's strange how the universe paints our deepest pains on a grand canvas, reflecting in cosmic cataclysms the very grief we carry inside. On a human scale, emptiness, no matter how cruel it feels, is never just absence. It also holds an invisible potential. Just as life finds new forms after loss, in the cosmos, the trail of destruction can become the cradle of something unexpected. Death, after all, is also a bridge to rebirth, even when we cannot see it right away. The meeting of these stars is not just a spectacular ending, it's also an act of creation on a cosmic scale. As they collapse, they scatter essential elements into space: iron, calcium, oxygen, the very ingredients that one day will form new planets and even new living beings. It's almost as if the universe itself makes a willing sacrifice, stars dismantling themselves so that others may be born. This idea shows us that the cosmos doesn't fear starting over, and that every ending is, in truth, an invitation to something greater. The final light of these supergiants travels across entire galaxies, igniting clouds of gas that will later become new suns and new stories. And this leads to an inevitable question. If the collision of stars can already stretch our imagination to its limits, what happens when the main characters are not luminous bodies, but invisible monsters that swallow even light itself? Here we enter the mysterious realm of supermassive black holes, where reality bends under the weight of the impossible. When we talk about supermassive black holes, we enter a realm where human imagination itself bends before the impossible. TON 618 and Phoenix A are cosmic monsters that defy every known scale. Their masses equal billions of suns, crushed into points almost too small to see. Now imagine these two titans drawing closer, slowly spinning around each other like giant vacuum cleaners sucking in everything nearby. They don't collide right away. First, they perform an orbital dance that can last millions of years, stretching and warping space like a sheet being tugged in opposite directions. It's like two brothers fighting over territory in the same room, neither willing to give up an inch until living together becomes unbearable. Each orbit sends out gravitational waves rippling across the universe like invisible bells ringing in silence. It's a spectacle we cannot see with our eyes, but one we can sense through science, which detects those ripples in the very fabric of reality. This slow, inevitable spiral is much like human conflicts that drag on for years. Families torn apart, friendships broken, relationships that never seem to find resolution. Have you noticed how, at some point, life pushes those people back into each other's path? That's exactly what happens with black holes. Gravity acts as that invisible bond that never lets them escape. Their meeting is inevitable, and when it happens, there is no reconciliation, only fusion. Two become one. Denser, hungrier, more relentless, this new cosmic being devours whatever remains around it, as if to assert its absolute presence. What's fascinating is that even without light, it leaves traces we can feel. Gravitational waves travel across space, through planets, and even through you, right now. A reminder that the invisible is no less real, and that the deepest forces often move in silence, and often, it's what we cannot see that most shapes our lives and our destiny. When black holes finally merge, the universe witnesses the birth of an even more powerful monster. The energy released in that instant equals the simultaneous explosion of millions of supernovas, bending space and time as if they were made of rubber. The new black hole isn't just the sum of the two that came before, it's something greater, an entity carrying within it the memory of the entire process. Thinking about this puts us into perspective. While we argue over our small daily struggles, forces like these shape the structure of the cosmos without asking permission. If colliding planets can create moons and crashing stars can seed life, then the fusion of black holes redefines reality itself. But if the meeting of just two invisible giants can have such profound consequences, imagine when the protagonists are not individual stars, but entire galaxies charging toward each other like cosmic cities on a collision course. When two galaxies collide, it isn't just a meeting of stars, it's the fusion of entire cosmic cities. UGC 2885, known as the Godzilla Galaxy, when it encounters ESO 38376, sets off a colossal dance where billions of suns, planets, and nebulae weave together in a cosmic ballet. Think of it like two giant metropolises slowly merging, their outskirts mixing first, neighborhoods overlapping, streets crossing, buildings losing their order. Little by little, everything transforms into a single chaotic city, yet vibrant and full of new possibilities. It's as if New York and Tokyo fused into one mega city, unrecognizable and pulsing with life. Over millions of years, stars are flung like cars in an endless traffic jam, hurtling through space in unpredictable directions. What once seemed organized becomes a mosaic of movement, collisions, and rebirths. And at the heart of this chaos, a new galactic core may emerge, brighter, more intense, and more powerful, redefining everything around it. This fusion of galaxies is not just a distant spectacle. It mirrors the changes we experience in our own lives. Anyone who has ever moved neighborhoods knows how an entire routine can be reshaped in just days, often without realizing it. The bakery is no longer the same. The neighbors change, the paths to work shift, and suddenly you must learn to inhabit a new world. When two galaxies merge, something similar happens, only on a monumental cosmic scale. Stars that once stood apart find new orbits, new homes, new possibilities of gravity. Some are cast far away, like families leaving the city in search of another destiny. Others draw closer, forming new solar systems, like neighbors discovering an unexpected friendship. This chaotic, transformative process shows us that change may feel frightening, but it is precisely within it that new forms of life are born. The most astonishing part is that our very own galaxy, the Milky Way, is already on a collision course with Andromeda, and this is not just theory. Astronomical calculations confirm the encounter is inevitable. In about 4 billion years, we'll witness this spectacle up close, at least if humanity still exists to see it. Imagine looking up at the now. Imagine looking up at the night sky and seeing not only the familiar stars, but entire rivers of light weaving together into patterns we've never known. Through these collisions, the universe seems to remind us that nothing remains isolated forever. Everything moves toward encounter, toward fusion, toward becoming something greater and more magnificent. If the collision of planets can create moons, and the merging of stars can forge vital elements, then the meeting of galaxies proves that even the largest systems are only temporary. But what happens when the stage of collision doesn't involve just two cosmic cities, but entire leagues competing for the same space? That's when we step into the realm of galaxy clusters, where chaos reaches proportions even more extraordinary. When we talk about galaxy clusters colliding, we're entering a spectacle on a scale that defies any ordinary human imagination. The Phoenix Cluster and El Gordo aren't just groups of stars, but true cosmic championships, made up of billions of suns, planets, and black holes gathered on the same stage. Imagine two entire soccer championships suddenly deciding to play in the same stadium, with every fan screaming at once. The noise, the vibration, the sheer confusion would be deafening, impossible to control in the moment. In the cosmos, that confusion doesn't come as sound, but as raw energy, rippling like invisible waves across millions of light years. Chaos spreads outward, rearranging galaxies like pieces on a cosmic board that is constantly being shuffled. Nothing stays fixed. Orbits change, systems are torn from their homes, and entirely new structures emerge. What once looked stable is revealed to be temporary, because the rule of the universe is constant transformation, even in the middle of collapse. This colossal encounter can be translated into human experiences that, though smaller in scale, carry the same transformative essence. Have you ever stood in a packed stadium, feeling the vibration of a crowd so strong it seemed to shake both the ground and your bones? That sensation is only a faint shadow of what happens when entire clusters collide in space. Instead of voices and drums, there are particles, superheated gases, and gravitational forces on incomprehensible scales. Billions of stars cross paths like crowds rushing out of narrow exits all at once, each carrying entire worlds, maybe even civilizations with them. Some galaxies are thrown out, condemned to wander alone in the void, like displaced people forced to leave everything they once knew. Others find new orbits, new homes, new centers of balance, like families reorganizing after disaster. What seemed like an ending reveals itself as a chance to begin again, proving that even within chaos, there is a hidden purpose. The impact between galaxy clusters is not only visual, it reaches dimensions that reshape the very structure of the universe. These colossal collisions stir the invisible cosmic web, the vast network of filaments that connects galaxies and sustains the cosmos as a whole. The waves of energy ripple across millions of light years, affecting regions that never came into direct contact with the crash. It's like the vibration of a party spreading across an entire city, felt even by those who never stepped inside the hall. This metaphor shows us that nothing in the universe is ever truly isolated, and that every movement echoes far beyond its origin. The most fascinating realization is that even at this immense scale, clusters are still just fragments of something greater. If they already seem inconceivable, imagine what happens when the very filaments of the cosmic web, the structures that connect entire superclusters, decide to collide. At that level, we are no longer speaking of cities or crowds, but of the infrastructure of the universe itself coming together. When we speak of cosmic filaments, we are looking at the largest structures known, true pillars of the universe. The LQG and the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall are so vast that even words like gigantic or infinite feel too small. Imagine cables linking entire continents, but instead of carrying electricity, they channel billions of galaxies through an invisible web. Now picture those cables colliding slowly, like high-voltage wires twisting together in slow motion across the depths of space. The result is not mere destruction, but reorganization, redrawing the pathways through which matter flows across the cosmos. It's as if all the undersea internet cables of the world were shaken at once, shifting positions, rerouting connections, and reshaping networks. This process takes billions of years, but it leaves permanent scars in the architecture of the universe. In the end, we witness a cosmos unafraid to tear down its own foundations in order to build even grander ones. To bring this closer to our reality, think of how the internet connects billions of people, sustaining work, communication, and leisure on a global scale. Now imagine two entire networks crashing into each other. Every wire, every piece of data, every connection being redistributed without warning. What was once familiar becomes unrecognizable. But out of that confusion, a new order emerges with new points of contact. In the collision of filaments, whole galaxies are ripped from their places, moving like knots in a living net, searching for balance. Some are flung far away, others pulled closer, but none remain the same. It reminds us that nothing is fixed, not even what feels eternal and untouchable. Just as our routines can be shaken by unexpected encounters, the universe shows us that even its mightiest structures bend. Change is the rule, and what seemed solid reveals itself to be only a part of an endless stream of transformations. And here comes an inevitable reflection. How can something be so vast that even the word immensity feels inadequate? The collision of cosmic filaments reminds us of our smallness, but also of our intimate connection to the whole. The atoms in our bodies were born from past collisions, and perhaps they are still part of a larger process unfolding now. The universe seems to whisper that nothing is final, that even its very foundations can be reshaped in silence, which raises a question: if even the greatest cables of the cosmos collide and reconfigure, what happens when emptiness itself collides with more emptiness? At that point, we're no longer speaking of explosions, but of pure absence, where silence swells until it swallows any chance of motion. And this leads us into the realm of supervoids, the cosmic deserts where absence outweighs any presence. Supervoids are the largest regions of absence in the universe. Cosmic deserts so vast, they swallow even our boldest imagination. The Boretes Void and the KBC Void, for instance, stretch across billions of light years, forming immense hollows in the fabric of existence. When we think of collision, we imagine fire, noise, and destruction, but here the outcome is completely different. When two supervoids meet, there is no explosion, only an expansion of nothingness. It's as if two silent deserts touched, and instead of creating life, they simply extended the absence. This collision sends out no light, no spectacular signals. It is a nearly invisible transformation. What happens is the dilution of boundaries, like ink dispersing in water, until the void grows larger. The universe inhales, and with every meeting, there is less presence. What once felt solid dissolves. And what remains, paradoxically, is an even greater silence. To bring this closer to human life, imagine two deeply lonely people meeting, not filling each other, but merely sharing their emptiness. There is no friction, no spectacle, just the confirmation of what already existed. That is how the collision of supervoids works. No new stars are born, no gravitational waves are released, no fireworks of creation appear. Instead, what emerges is a collective silence, unsettling because it defies our expectation that every change must arrive with noise. And yet, this encounter reveals something powerful. It shows that nothingness too can expand, that absence itself can grow just like anything else. Silence, instead of being an ending, becomes the protagonist, taking up more and more space. Just as in life, not every transformation comes in chaos. Sometimes it manifests in absolute stillness. Nothingness, as strange as it sounds, is also a form of movement, and this thought leads us to an existential reflection that's hard to ignore. What if the end of the universe isn't an explosion, but an eternal silence? Perhaps the grand finale will not come with fire or destruction, but with a simple fading of the lights. The meeting of supervoids makes us wonder if even emptiness can become a creative force, a stage for the definitive absence. It's as if the cosmos whispers that the last act will not be a bang, but a complete emptying. This parallel echoes in our own lives, Often our endings don't arrive in storms, but in silences that grow slowly. Nothingness, in its expansion, is also a kind of transformation. Colliding supervoids remind us that even silence can be powerful, and that the cosmic spectacle does not need noise to be grand. In the end, perhaps the greatest event will be the absence of any event at all. After traveling through collisions of planets, stars, and even supervoids, what does this awaken in you? Maybe it's time to look at the collisions in your own life differently. Every impact may seem like destruction, but it can also be the seed of something greater. The universe never stops at chaos. It transforms it into a new beginning, and you can do the same with your own story. Think about it. What collisions have already changed the course of your life without you even realizing it? How many times has something that felt like an absolute ending turned into a new opportunity? Are you letting the fear of chaos hold back your growth, or are you ready to embrace it? The universe doesn't ask permission to change. It simply changes. And maybe that's the very invitation you needed to start again, right now. If this content resonated with you, don't let the reflection end here. Apply these ideas, notice your own collisions, and turn them into fuel for growth. Share in the comments, what was the greatest collision that transformed you? And of course, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you'll keep learning every day, not just about the cosmos, but about yourself.